Hello friends, I am Dr. Sharad Binnor, working as Associate Professor in the Department of English of KTHM College, Nashik. Today we are going to study the distinction between subjective and objective poetry from the section Theory of Poetry of Discipline Specific course Appreciating Poetry. Let us begin our discussion of these two types of poetry. In a broad way, poetry may be divided into two classes. There is the poetry in which the poet goes down into himself and finds his inspiration and his subjects in his own experiences, thoughts, ideas, and feelings. There is the poetry in which the poet goes out of himself, mingles with the action and passion of the world without, and deals with what he discovers there with little reference to his own individuality. The former class we may call personal or subjective poetry, or the poetry of self delineation and self expression. The latter may be called impersonal or objective poetry, or the poetry of representation or creation. The boundary line between these two divisions cannot of course be drawn with absolute precision, and in much poetry, especially in our extremely composite modern poetry, personal and impersonal elements continually combine. Subjective poetry. Subject matter which is supplied by external objects such as deeds, events, and the things we see around us, and that which is supplied by the poet's own thoughts and feelings. The former gives rise to objective poetry, the latter to subjective. In the subjective poetry, the center of attention is the poet himself. Whatever the subject may be, his mind is centered on his own thoughts and feelings. A subjective poetry is one in which the poet incorporates personal experiences, feelings, emotions, thoughts, ideas, and so on. As I told you earlier, the subjective poetry is personal and inward. It's being personal, subjective poems are short in length, and they are mostly about the poet's personal life, his own feelings, emotions, thoughts, ideas, experiences, and so on. With the rise of civilization, man acquired a subjective outlook, which gave rise to the subjective poetry. There are various types of subjective poetry: lyric, sonnet, ode, elegy. A lyric is any fairly short poem uttered by a single speaker who expresses a state of mind or thought and feeling. Lyric poetry, in the original meaning of the term, was poetry composed to be sung to the accompaniment of lyre or harp. Sonnet is a poem of 14 lines. It is one of the most popular forms of poetry, and there are two styles of sonnet, Italian and English. An ode is often written in praise of a person, an object, or an event. They tend to be longer in form and generally serious in nature. An elegy is a poem of lament or mourning and consolation, usually formal and about the death of a particular person or loss of something. Elegies can also mourn the passing of events or passions. They can be meditative and distressed, such as Elegy Written in a Country Churchyard by Thomas Gray. In objective poetry, the poet acts as a detached observer, describing what he has seen or heard. In the other words, he brings to bear his own reflections upon what he has seen or heard. The same subject matter can be viewed either way. If the poet views it from without confining himself, that is to say, merely to his externals, his treatment is objective. If he views it from within, giving expression, that is to say, to the thoughts and feelings it arouses in his mind, his treatment is subjective. In the objective poetry, the focus of attention is something that is outward, a praiseworthy act, a thrilling occurrence, a beautiful sight, or so on. An objective poetry is one in which the poet deals with the experiences, emotions, thoughts, ideas, conditions, actions of other people or other things. As I told you, objective poetry is impersonal in nature, whereas subjective poetry is personal. They are longer as compared to subjective poetry because they are about other things, other people, or about events, actions, conditions, and so on. Though objective poetry has uh, been an older form as compared to subjective poetry. We can say objective poetry is older than subjective. The primitive people among whom it developed, like the uncivilized races in some parts of the world today, were more interested in what they saw and heard than in what they thought. They valued the experiences of their eye and ear more than the experiences of their mind. Deep thinking may even have been irksome or troublesome to them, considering that their life was simple, composed more of action than of thought. Their poetry, therefore, dealt with deeds, events, and things they saw around them, and it called for the little mental efforts from their hearers. At the early stage, man has not acquired a subjective outlook, which is the product of civilization. The epic and the drama are the forms of this objective poetry, in which, as in the ballad, the writer's personality remains in the background. The lyric and the elegy, which belong to later times, represent the subjective variety. There are various types of objective poetry: epic, ballad, mock epic, and dramatic monologue. An epic is a long narrative poem that usually unfolds a history or mythology of a nation or race. The epic details the adventures and deeds of a hero, and in so doing tells the story of a nation. Epic poetry is the oldest form of poetry, dating back to classics like Gilgamesh, the Iliad, and Beowulf. A ballad. A ballad is a short narrative poem with stanzas of 2 or 4 lines and possibly a refrain that most frequently deals with folklore or popular legends and is suitable for singing. Just as we have Povada in Marathi. Mock epic. A mock epic is a long, humorous poem written in mock heroic style. It is a type of parody which imitates both the elaborate form and ceremonious style of the epic poetry. A dramatic monologue is a poem in the form of a speech or narrative by an imagined person, in which the speaker inadvertently reveals aspects of their characters while describing a particular situation or series of events. I hope that you have understood the distinction between the subjective and objective poetry. If you have any queries, feel free to post them on our Google Classroom. I will try to answer your queries. Thank you very much for your patient listening.